Welcome to Hot Flash Chronicles, where midlife is messy, menopause is madness, and we're sweating through it together.
We're Angie and Shelly, two caffeine-fueled, slightly inappropriate grandmas who say what everyone's thinking.
So grab a drink, crank up the AC, and let's dive in. Angie.
Shelly.
You know.
I know.
You know.
I feel like we don't even have to say it.
Are you reading my mind right now?
I am.
Okay. I'm trying to confuse you.
I'm getting a sense that it is time for a new Hot Flash Chronicles podcast.
What? You are so psychic.
You're so funny. So what are we talking about today, Shelly?
We are going to talk about what it was like to be a kid back in the days of yore, before all of the modern accoutrements happened, like gaming, screens, computers, phones, all that stuff.
Basically screens.
Screens, yeah. Like I was a little kid like in the late 60s, early 70s, teenager in the 80s. So I have grandkids, as you do, and playtime is very different now.
So different.
Yeah.
It's so different. And the toys that we had, the things we spent time doing, the safety issues that would not fly today.
Oh, gosh. Yeah,
like
there was
not
a lot.
Fly today. Like things, just off the top of my head, lawn darts.
Well, what about metal, like the trucks that used, the little yellow trucks, the Tonka trucks? Those were real metal. Like they were heavy.
What could go wrong? Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of people getting
now it's probably
on their faces.
Over safe now. We probably pendulum swung from being like not cautious enough to overly cautious.
Mm-hmm.
But what are some of the things that you remember playing with that you remember fondly?
I'd say I had a lot of the really average things that like any kid on the block would have, which would be like a hula hoop, roller skate, the little, I can't remember what it was. It was a little ball thing that went up and down a wire. You would hold it and there was a little wheel that would go up and down.
Oh, like a gyro.
Yeah.
What were those called?
But there was a lot of ping pong paddle with the little ball that it was on a string, and you could like there was a lot of things like that, like a lot of little games, yo-yos. Did I say yo-yo?
I don't know that you did.
I had a yo-yo.
Oh yeah.
So
could you do the cradle?
I could.
Same.
I could, and slinky. So slinkies that would go down the stairs, the wire things, also just made out of wire. Like it was just.
Now they're made out of plastic.
Yeah, they're not as good.
Yeah.
They don't make the same slinky sound.
No, they don't slink.
They don't. They're less slinky. Yeah, they are. They're not super slinky.
So I'm thinking things like easy bake ovens.
Oh yeah,
or the dolls that would have the little bottle that would disappear. Cabbage Patch dolls were huge.
What about the dolls that you push their belly button and their hair would grow? Velvet, I think Velvet and Chrissy.
I do not feel like I had one of those.
Yeah, you would push their belly button. There was like a button there, and you would yank out their ponytail, and their hair would get longer. Yeah,
if only.
I know. I wish that worked.
Not working.
No, it doesn't work.
I push my belly button, my hair doesn't get longer.
No, it's not.
So things like that. There were lots of Lego, lots of building things. I had Play Kitchen,
Barbie
stuff like
Dream
that.
House.
We literally. Did you ever make mud pies?
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, we rode our bikes everywhere.
Yep.
Like I think we had like if I was guessing, probably about a mile radius that we could. I
think even though I grew up in Washington State, you did too. I think even though the weather here is not great, my mom tried to have us outside as often as possible.
Yeah.
So
we used to build forts all the time, like blanket forts. I was showing my oldest grandson and my 3-year-old grandson, we were building some forts, and I was like, no, kid, let me show you. Almost got the inside track on how to build a fort.
Yeah. Avery, my granddaughter, loves to build forts, like out of blanket forts in the living room.
Yeah.
Very extravagant.
Yeah. So now it's a lot of screens, which we didn't have as children. We didn't have, there was TV, but it was like, there were only a few channels and you couldn't choose what was going to be on it. You had to look at the TV guide ahead of time.
Yeah, it wasn't on demand.
The newspaper. Yeah, you couldn't just.
You had Saturday morning cartoons and some cartoons on Sunday, but then not really the rest of the week.
And
it was a
Saturday
special day.
mornings were really for getting the cereal so you could get the toy out of the box of cereal.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I lived for cereal for that reason.
I would
Like,
save
that was
cereal.
my
Remember,
jam.
you could save cereal box tops and get like a big gift thing.
Yeah.
Like you could send them in. Yeah. Well, while we were saving cereal box tops, my mom was saving those Raleigh cigarette coupons.
Oh, Camel Bucks too.
And Camel and
When I was
getting
a smoker in the 90s, we had Camel Bucks,
getting-
and I would make everybody give me their Camel Bucks.
really weird knick-knacky crap.
Yeah.
It was weird stuff you could buy, but
Yeah.
she used us. So yeah, that was a thing too. You could get cigarette bucks.
Right. So, and you could buy them for your parents,
Oh yeah.
right? Couldn't you do that? I mean, my parents didn't smoke when I was little, but
Yeah.
I don't think my mom's ever smoked. My dad smoked when he met my mom.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, did you ever have to buy cigarettes for your mom?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Go down
How did
to
that
the
go?
well, you would go down to the little mini market at the end of our block,
Mm-hmm.
which was called Fairway Grocery, and I think it's still there in Hoquam.
I love that.
And she would write a note. There was a written note from my
Can you
mom.
imagine that now?
A written note, and I'd have the, $2 or whatever it was. They weren't very expensive back then. They weren't $10.
How much
per
are they?
pack.
$10 a pack now?
Like 11 or 12 bucks or something. But they
You used
weren't
to
that
get a
much.
carton for that.
Yeah. So I would go down with my little sell my 8-year-old daughter cigarettes note, and they would just do it. Now, I don't know if in bigger, I mean, that was like 1972 or 73. I don't know if that would have flown everywhere in the United States, but in small towns, I think that was pretty.
Yeah.
They didn't do booze. Like I couldn't go get her bottle of wine. They did draw the line on that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I couldn't be an 8-year-old getting beer, but I could be an 8-year-old getting some cigs.
So it's so funny.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of Barbies and
Oh, yeah.
a lot of playing house, a lot of concocting wild stories.
Mhm.
Like we would have to come up with these storylines,
Yeah.
right? Like we would come up with we had Kyle's kids over a couple weekends ago to stay the night, and we took them to the park, and I thought it was so cute because both of the boys wound up making friends on the playground.
Mhm.
And they turned it into this really elaborate tale that they turned the big toy into a tank, and they were going to war, and there were enemies on the outside, and there was a big monster, and the 3-year-old grandson was the monster.
Of
The
course.
6-year-old was the captain to,
Yeah.
like, we got it. And then he had to go into the infirmary.
Wow.
Yeah, or not the infirmary. Where do you question people? Interrogation. He had to go
Interrogation.
into
The
interrogation.
infirmary is where you get treated for a
No, he
medical
didn't. He didn't
condition.
want to make him better. He
Yeah.
wanted to find out what he knew. But I was like, Jeff and I are sitting there, and I was like, don't interrupt, because I was just trying to overhear, but we were just far enough away to not quite be able to overhear. But we could tell that they were sitting on the edge of the big toy, pretending like they were driving, and he's pointing and yelling like, there it is, get the cannons. And
I would
it was
say,
like, you got to cultivate that.
yeah, that's like, it's not part of the normal repertoire now to do that. Like,
Mhm.
I think we used our imaginations a lot more. And I think it's because there was less instantly entertaining material available. I mean, the thing about screens is that there's some instant entertainment right at your fingertips.
Oh, yeah.
Right here. And you could do all different kinds of stuff. And that just wasn't an option.
Yeah.
So I read a lot more as a little kid. I had lots
Mhm.
of books. We played tons of board games, not
Oh, yeah.
not internet games, not computer games, not
Like
handheld.
Uno and
Yeah,
Chutes
card
and
games,
Ladders, stuff like that.
Yahtzee. There was a lot of board games, which I still like to do. It is a different experience than doing it on a screen.
Mhm.
So I think there was a lot more of a requirement to be maybe a little more imaginative, using your creative mind a little bit more back then. We've just handed over instant entertainment now.
Right.
And it's
The
an easy
instant is the part of it.
fix.
Because now you can just hand a tablet or a laptop or a phone, or, you can turn YouTube on the TV, and they want the things that they want right away. And we just didn't have access to that. We didn't have the ability to do that. So it was like, you kids go play, and then we had to figure out something to play.
Yeah.
And now it's like, but I want Bluey. I want Bluey right now, or I want the blocks right now. And it's like, they're so used to the instant yes. And it really falls into what kind of parent they have, whether
Mhm.
they just like carte blanche, like, yep, here's a screen, tag
Yeah.
away. But I know that Kyle and AJ, my son and his wife, are very careful about what they can watch. When we had them a couple weeks ago, the 6-year-old was like, "Oh yeah, I want to watch Lego videos," and I was like, I don't think you're allowed to watch those, are you? And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm allowed." And I knew he wasn't. And I said, "I'm just going to text Mama and ask if you can." And he goes, "Oh, actually, I'm not allowed to." And I was like, "That's what I thought."
Yeah.
How about we pick something, and then he was able to watch a
I think in a
show.
lot of ways, being a parent nowadays is a lot more challenging.
Yeah.
In that it's very easy. We used to have the TV was kind of a babysitter a little bit
Right.
when I was.
But you can't do that because now that, my 2-year-old grandson Ezra can change the channel.
Yeah.
He can figure out how to get his show on. I'm like, "You're 2, bro. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
How?
It is a lot.
Right.
Well, and their capacity and their ability, because they have been born into a time where that is just normal everyday stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I do remember when I was about, I want to say it was fifth or sixth grade was when Atari came out.
Mhm.
And we got the first Atari gaming system,
You
which
had
was
to have been older than that because
Pong.
I feel like I was about that age.
Pong. I was, yeah, I don't know. It was
We got one of the first ones
literally
that came out, and I
Pong.
remember it. So.
That was it. That was all that was on
Space
it.
Invaders,
Pong, and chicken. I called it Chicken on the Road, but there was one where you try to get a chicken.
Yeah. And then Pac-Man was on Atari as well.
Pac-Man came out
came
later, but that was happening. Like I said, maybe I was 5th or 6th or 7th grade, something like that, and it was revolutionary.
Oh yeah,
I mean that,
totally.
And that I'd say my age group, some of the kids in my class would be what we would call the first wave of gamers. Like this is where a lot of the people that I know, their first game was an Atari, and they consistently were grabbed by that. And everything that came after that, they kept with and kept going. I didn't. I dropped out of that. I liked it a little bit. My little brother, who was only 7 years younger, totally loved all that and had all the game systems and stuff.
Yeah.
He was enough younger, which would be more your age.
I've never been good at console games that have like a controller. I do more PC games.
Yeah.
So I still play video games. But it's interesting how much they've evolved, and there's just huge libraries of.
They're just super sophisticated.
For sure.
It's and these, like my grandkids, have just been born into this era. Same thing. My grandson, who's 3, absolutely knows how to use things I weren't even in my world till I was, in my 20s, and they just know how to use the remote control for the TV. They know how to do things on their parents' phones and things like that, because it's just been a part of their world, like a landline was a part of our world. Like I totally knew how to work a rotary phone and a push button phone because those were always in my world. I saw my parents use them when I was little. So I think that is the challenge, is a lot of the things that we did as kids. First of all, I had a stay-at-home mom who was supervising our stuff all the time. She was there. So she knew what our toys were and what our options were for playing. And nowadays, you can go into a kid's bedroom or playroom and there might not be any. There might be some stuffies or some whatever, but all of their toys might be their handheld whatever, or their Game Boy, or their whatever. Or there might not be any books. Like our room had tons of books. What rooms and what kids' rooms look like today, and what even our houses look like today, are so much different. If you think about it, like all of the things in our kitchens and in our living rooms, Alexa, those weren't don't activate her. All those,
she didn't hear you.
All those things did not exist. Like you couldn't just turn on the music by yelling a command. You had to go over to the stereo and turn it on.
You find the record for it, or find the cassette tape, or the 8-track.
The 8-track.
You had 8 tracks.
I absolutely. You had to have like a little suitcase to carry them around it. It was ridiculous, and they were heavy.
Yeah, I did a lot of stuff that was building. Like I did some Lego, but
Lincoln Logs,
Tinker Toys, things like that. I loved building things.
I did too. We had Lego, and
Kyle loved those when he was little too.
Now Lego's been a constant in my life. I've always loved Lego.
Yeah,
I remember those.
Yeah, Kyle was 4 and he could put together like a massive helicopter. With Connects. Like you and Phil gave my 6-year-old grandson a Star Wars Razor Crest Lego set, and it was already put together, but he wanted to take it apart, and Kyle was like, buddy, like, we don't have the directions. And he was like, oh, you can find them. And he wasn't wrong. Found it on Google.
Yep.
And it was, so this kid can put together, we got a set at Christmas that was for 18 and up, 18-year-olds. He did it in like an hour and a half. I was like, it's amazing so I think he got a lot of that from my son.
Well, my son loved, they were Bionicles, which was, and we always had to get as soon as he'd get one, he'd build it, and then he'd be asking for the next one. He was really he loved Bionicles. And so there's these different time frames when different things are popular, and like everything goes. I remember when Tickle Me Elmo was a big thing, Yeah.
I wouldn't let Kyle have one.
There are all these fad toys that go in, but it's definitely been a trend away from the more basic toys. Like Lego is still popular, but it's very expensive, or Lincoln Logs, and it's definitely trended towards becoming electronic, things that are electronic, that talk, that do things, that flashlights, that, or whatever, or are a gaming system of some sort. So as a society, we've really changed what kids' toys are and look like. If you go into a store now and look at the toy section, it looks wildly different.
Oh, totally.
Than it did when we would. And some of the toys we had, like I said, were a hula hoop, skates, skateboards. There was a lot of having a bicycle. Like, I spent a lot of time out riding the neighborhood on my bike. A lot of the things I did were like literally physical things, like skateboarding or
building things, like building forts. Like it
was more hands-on.
Our parents would give us like sheets of plywood to build like a fort outside. Like, we could literally hammer, nails, board, build something. We were given we had, oh my gosh, this is a horrible story. We had a swing set. Remember those old swing sets that had the aluminum poles?
The metal,
yeah. So we had one that had just been set up, and we wanted to see how high up we could swing.
And it wasn't.
And it was not cemented in. And Missy, my little sister, was swinging, and the legs kept raising, and we thought it was funny, so we're laughing. And you could see it from the kitchen window, and my mom's in the kitchen making dinner, I think. I don't know. She'll probably let me know. And it swung so high, she flipped, and the post landed on her neck.
Oh!
It was stuck under this.
Oh, my God.
This is my recollection as a child. She was stuck with the bar on her neck for probably like 12 seconds, but it felt like eternity. But luckily it didn't do any damage. But we had other kids that were over there playing, so we all
lifted it off.
Yeah, again, fuzzy memory because I was a kid. But I do remember the look of her laying on the ground with her little legs kicking. And she could breathe still because she was yelling.
Just trapped, pinned
down.
down.
She was pinned by her neck. It's like, oof, that doesn't feel super
Yeah, they're
safe.
scary. Like, well, the swing set chains, there were chains. They were chains, and they'd haul back and sometimes snap you. And I had a tetherball too. Did you have a tetherball?
I didn't have one at my house, but our school had one.
Yeah, my dad.
Remember those things that
you
could get on and they'd spin?
Yeah,
and you'd spin so fast that sometimes kids would shoot off of them and fall onto like.
The merry-go-round.
Why were schools allowing
all these things?
They
don't have a lot of that stuff now.
I know.
But that was like, there were some things that were, I guess we just assumed there was a certain amount of risk involved in having fun.
Well, when you're that age, you think you're invincible. You don't think that a swing set's going to take you out.
Well, and my dad, like when we got swing sets, he did put cement in and put them down, and I'm sure your parents did after that happened. Or you weighed them down.
From my recollection, again,
just got it.
We had just gotten it, so it wasn't fully.
The aluminum ones were very light. Some people had like the wooden ones.
But if you got air, then the legs would raise.
Sure,
because they weren't. Yeah,
because so science and physics.
I don't know if we kept the swing set. I don't know what happened after that. I just remember the swing set incident, and it was a lot.
Well, it's like nowadays when parents have like there's people who live in the country, or they have a farm, they have a working farm, or they have things, and they'll have the old swing out in the tree, you know, the rope swing hanging down. It's almost like nostalgia now for children to have that kind of a childhood, like the childhood that we had. It's just,
Or you were
it's
kind of
not,
just given like not free reign, like there were still parameters, but we kind of could just like go kick rocks.
well, I could go ride my
time.
bike until
the sun started
went
setting.
down, until it started getting dark.
Straight lines come
And
on, you have to be
I didn't
home.
have a cell phone. Yeah, I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have
Yeah,
a way
they would do
to...
the phone tree, calling down the neighborhood kids. Like,
Yeah.
have you seen Angie and Missy? Oh, last time I saw they were at Aaron Rose's. Call Aaron Rose's. Oh no, I think they're over at Janae's. Call Janae's. Oh no, I think they went to Kim's. Call Kim's. Oh yeah, they're here. We'll send them home.
Yeah.
Like, so they didn't know. We didn't have to check in and say. They knew we were in the neighborhood.
Right.
But that's just what life was like then.
You could do that.
You
could do that. It was a time where that was considered very safe, normal neighborhoods. You knew your neighbors, you knew your neighbors' kids, everybody kind of, but we don't really necessarily live in that world anymore. I'm not saying there aren't neighborhoods like that. There are, but there's a lot more that aren't like that. Like, for the last 15 years, I don't even think I've known my neighbors' names, basically.
Yeah, I know the ones on either side of me, but we just do pleasantries with the one on one side, but we're friends with the one on the other.
Yeah, it's just not.
It's interesting because everybody else in the whole neighborhood, we're in like a development. I don't know I wouldn't know them if I saw them in the store. I don't even know what they look like.
Yeah, it's just we are different in how we interact and what community is now. Right. And so childhoods then were a lot different because that was a sign of the times, and that was the kind of childhood you could have. And we did have to use our imaginations more. If I would have had screens, I absolutely would have been drawn towards screens. When we get kind of weird about it now, we say, oh, kids these days. Well, it's not the kids these days. It's whatever the parents
the culture
are allowing and whatever is acceptable currently in society. And it is absolutely acceptable that your kid watch Miss Rachel and Bluey on demand. That's a normal thing now. It's normal that we have computers or gaming systems and our kids play Wii, or whatever. Yeah. So as society changes and develops, as technology has changed and developed, so have our habits as parents, as kids, and as the people who manufacture and create all these different kinds of toys.
Right.
Like these hands-on toys now, like Legos and this and that. They're selling all those as like, oh, tactile, this is where you get in with your hands and you really build stuff. That's like been a whole marketing thing to make these old-fashioned toys still feel, valid. And they are. I mean, it absolutely does some things for you that
it spurs that imagination.
Yeah. I feel like there's a balance that in today's parenting world, I think the challenge is a lot of both parents have to work. And it's like finding the time to do hands-on crafts and activities. It's rough. Mm-hmm. It's hard. And when you come home in the evening and you need to make dinner and get ready for the next day and do laundry and do chores, you don't necessarily have time to take a good hour and a half and sit and build Lego. It's like, you're going to watch some Bluey while I do the laundry. And it's like, we can't shame people for that.
No, for sure. That's just the culture we're in right now.
It is the culture we're in. It's what our society is saying needs to happen for a family to live, is usually both parents have to work. So
you have to have dual income usually anymore.
Yeah, and it's just like,
to have any standard of living.
Created a different world, and it's created a home life and an atmosphere where you have to make special time to go and do the things like bike rides, and you have to plan your hikes and your outdoor activities. It's not just open them a back door and letting them go run the neighborhood for 3 hours. Now, I'm not saying my parents spent any one-on-one time with me. They didn't. They threw us out in the backyard and said, go play on the swing set.
My mom did lots of crafts with us. Or she would play Barbie. She colored with us a lot. Like, she would play with us.
It was more of a weekend thing. We usually would do a weekend thing, but during the weekdays, my mom was a full-time housewife, and she was planning meals and going grocery shopping and cleaning the house and doing all that stuff. So we'd come home from school. Sometimes there was afternoon television, like J.P. Patches here in the Pacific Northwest. There'd be a kid show, Captain Kangaroo, something that you could watch for a little bit, and then we'd do homework. So our weeknights during the school year were a lot different than summertime.
Oh, totally. And my mom worked off and on when I was a kid. So sometimes we were in childcare or latchkey after school.
Mhm.
Sometimes she was home. So it depended on where she was in her
Yeah.
career journey.
Right.
But I remember her being home more often than
That
not.
was that phrase, latchkey kids, like that happened in the 80s. That's when a lot of women started going back to work. If they had little kids or if their kids were older and in school, that's when this whole second income thing, like, oh, a lot of women went back to work just part-time so they could have a little extra spending money or
Right.
something. So that was the first generation really where kids came home at age 12 or 11 or whatever, sixth grade, and were by themselves for a few hours until their parents got home. Yeah, that
I was
never really happened.
babysitting kids in the street, like not in the street. There were kids in the neighborhood that I was paid to babysit starting when I was 12.
Yeah.
And that's pretty young.
Oh, I was a babysitter when I was 12.
That's not much older than Avery.
No.
Can you imagine her like being in charge of a 5-year-old?
No.
Like that just seems really young.
But we did it. And I mean, they basically said, if this happens, do this.
Yeah, I would work my summers.
There wasn't even, I think 911 wasn't even a thing when I was a babysitter. I don't think that was a thing yet.
Yeah.
I think that didn't happen until the 80s.
No, and
90s?
Parents didn't have cell phones because cell phones weren't.
Yeah, you had to call from a landline.
So you had to, like there was one kid that I watched every summer. Her name was Kimberly. And she was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years younger than me. And I probably like 3 or 4 summers, I worked all summer just watching her. And I would have to call her parents' work, or if they were going out to dinner, they would write down the name and the phone number of the restaurant. So like if they were going to Stanley and Seaforth's, I would have to call and say, I need to speak to Sharon. She's there. She's got blonde hair. Like I'm her babysitter. Like literally like, and then they'd have to go find Sharon. Like,
Sharon!
So weird.
Yeah.
Sharon and Larry. Like, but they were my bosses.
But that's what was the norm. And that, we evolve. And now we can I remember when pagers came out right before cell phones, you could page people.
Pagers came out when
it was like
Kyle was a baby.
90s.
No, it was the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Because Kyle was a baby.
I know they had them at my job. And you could page someone.
Yeah.
I remember we had a list of pager phone numbers, but they'd call you on a landline. They'd go get a phone. And so that was where we first kind of started making that change to the modern. But I just think throughout time, we evolve. And the way our children are raised, the things that are available to them, the way they can play, the way they socialize has been an evolution too. And we're to the point now, if you go out in a restaurant, if you are looking around at other people at tables, a lot of times everybody's on their phone. They're not even connecting and talking to each other. Yeah. I've literally texted my husband in the other room because I didn't want to yell.
You guys do that all the time.
Yeah. I text him from the other room.
Or you call each other from
the other room. Like if he doesn't answer my text, I call him.
It's fun. It's
because I don't want to yell.
I don't do phone calls because I have phone anxiety.
Yeah.
But Shelly will literally be in the dining room and call Phil, who's in the garage, like, hey, I need da-da-da-da.
Because I don't want to scream. So and I don't want to walk anywhere.
It cracks me up.
I don't want to go anywhere. I want to sit in my chair.
So I think the overarching theme is things evolve. So we, as people who grew up in a different time, can't expect the kids or the parents to behave the same way as they did 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah, we are not the people who think, well, I drank from a rubber hose, so I turned out fine. I'm always like, did you?
Have you seen that video of the guy that's like, he's a millennial, and he was like, oh, you people saying you drank from a hose. I got a question. Did you not have water?
Yeah.
And there's a lady who's a Gen Xer, and she's like, who's going to tell him? I'll tell him. We weren't allowed to go inside. We were forced to play outside. Our moms would lock the doars. We were forced to play outside, so we had to drink from the hose because we were thirsty. We did not have bottles of water. Nobody was walking around with a Stanley cup. There were no plastic bottles of water you could purchase. The reason we drank from the hose is because we weren't allowed to go inside until dinner time. We were to entertain ourselves. I was like,
that's so true.
Oh my God. He's like, did you guys not have water? It's like, no, bro. My mom would lock the doors. But
my mom locked the door.
But it was like,
my mom was a door.
I definitely drank from a hose because like, we're outside playing. Why would I go inside?
And there was somebody.
A little hydro flask.
It's just you're either going to evolve and change with the times. Like I feel like you and I have integrated, or like when new things have happened, when new ways of communicating have come up, I haven't been really rigid. I've been like, no, I want to learn how to use the pager. I want to learn how to use the BlackBerry. I want to learn how to use the Razor. I want to learn how to use the cell phones. I want, a home computer. Okay. I want to learn how to. So I was always very open to that. Some people aren't. They like things the way they were. They like them staying the same. And if they didn't have to wear a seatbelt and they turned out fine, then nobody should have to wear a seatbelt because they turned out fine.
That's survivor's bias.
I don't.
So
that attitude bothers me.
Yeah. Kyle pointed out a thing called survivor's bias. So saying, well, kids weren't murdered when I was you survived it. So those
you weren't murdered.
Right. The kids that
were attacked or had
like seatbelts. It's like, well, I didn't have a seatbelt and I lived. Well, there were lots of people that didn't.
That's why they made them mandatory. Yeah. And it's also a thing about like where you say, well, my parents used to beat me with a belt and I turned out fine. Did you? Like most people who were beat with a belt actually didn't turn out fine. I mean, there's a lot of things that probably trauma and emotional things that you might not be aware of and you might think you're okay, but most of us aren't okay if we got beat with a belt. It's like that idea that because you're okay, that means everybody else should be okay. That's not a thing.
No.
If you're doing that, stop it. Don't be that person.
The overarching is whatever time you were raised in, you're
a product of your environment,
your
and
parents
you can choose
do the best that they can with what they have.
Yeah,
full stop. So
every decade
judge
of parents,
the millennial parents that are giving their kids an iPad at Applebee's because this is the culture we're in.
Yeah.
So don't worry about what other people are doing or have done, unless it's like putting somebody in actual harm's way. Like, just mind your business because things change and change is just natural.
Yeah, the way we played as kids has changed. The way our parents were and the way parents are today has changed. And change is fine. It's like, that's the thing about you embrace change and you take the good parts. And if there's parts of it you try and they don't work, then you don't do those parts.
Exactly.
I think there's a way to integrate our childhood experiences. And like, there's some things
like me showing them how to make a fort. Like, almost got the lock on this. Trust me.
Yeah.
I got this.
Or like playing with Legos. I really enjoy playing with Legos and I've introduced that to Avery and she really likes it. It's like you can absolutely bring things from your childhood, nostalgic things that you really loved and hopefully get your grandkids interested in that and have a moment with them, like have this bond, this thing you like to do, whether it's cooking, making sourdough, whatever. But I think the whole idea that parents are doing their best, I think that's really the takeaway here.
Yeah,
whatever decade, we do the best we can.
So we were at a family brunch the other day at a restaurant, and it's like a nicer restaurant in Puyallup, and the kids had little sticker books. And it was the 6 and 3-year-old grandsons, my son and his wife, my son's 2 best friends, my parents, and Jeff and I. So a bunch of us. It was a big table of people. And the 3-year-old gets it in his mind, or maybe it was a 6-year-old, that they want to put a sticker on Mama's face. So they start putting stickers on AJ's face. Well, then they think that's funny. So they put them on Daddy's face, right? My son. And then by the end of the meal, we all have stickers on us and we leave and we're walking around and we're doing pictures outside and we're hanging out in the garden because there's like a garden area and we all still have stickers. Turns out my dad went to fill a prescription forgetting that he had a sticker on his head. But when we got home, I told Jeff, I said, I love that we're in a family that didn't say, no, you don't put stickers on people. Like, this is a nice restaurant. Like, it made the kids happy. They were giggling their faces off. I got pictures of everyone with the stickers. They were thrilled, and it's harmless.
Yeah.
It's harmless. So I was like, I love that I'm in a family that encourages that instead of squandering it. Because it's not, we're in public in a nice restaurant. You can't have stickers all over your face. And a couple of the waitresses walked by and kind of chuckled like, oh, those people are covered in stickers now. Interesting. But nobody said anything. Yeah. It's whatever.
Yeah. I think you have the right to create your own standards, what's okay. And there's no harm in that. So
what did you guys play with?
What were your
favorite? We want to know what you guys
childhood toys. What did your parents do? Did you have to drink out of a rubber hose? Were
I
you
liked
locked
it.
outside?
I
didn't like the taste. It
I
tasted
did.
like a rubber hose.
That's
It
fair.
wasn't great.
That's fair. So, Shelly, it is time for us to do some rapid fire, which is one of my favorite
I love this.
things.
I already have one.
Oh,
I have one. I
okay.
just thought about it.
Hit me.
And I'm going to hit you with a couple retro things we didn't mention, but everybody will know what they are. And I want to know, Angie, would you prefer to play with a light bright or an Etch-a-Sketch?
Oh, a light bright. For sure.
Light
Etch-a-Sketch
bright, making things
was
with
too hard.
light.
Yeah.
Out of sight,
Light bright
making
was
things with
awesome.
light bright. Yep.
Yeah. Light bright was awesome. I loved the light bright.
I liked Etch-a-Sketch a lot.
I like that too, but I wasn't good at it.
Yeah.
Like there are some people that are good at it, but I'm just not that person.
I could make a score.
Okay, Shelly,
Mhm.
I'll do kind of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you rather eat something from an easy bake oven
Okay.
or play with a spirograph and draw some fun patterns? Remember the spirographs?
I was a chubby, so I'd want to eat. If I was a kid,
Chubby.
I would have been in there making something in that easy bake oven.
Okay.
It baked with a light bulb because it took forever.
It did take
It really
forever.
took
How
a
can you
long
imagine baking a cake with just the heat of a light bulb? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do a retro. I think I'm going to go back and do like a retro snack. Do you remember the Jell-O 1, 2, 3? Do you remember it? It was layered Jell-O in a glass. Like it had a creamy layer. It was 3 different
Did
colors.
it come already prepared?
It was in a package with like 3 different packages.
I don't know that
It was
I
like
ever
a
had this.
parfait.
Oh, okay.
So a Jell-O parfait,
Okay.
3 different layers, or I'm trying to think of or a ding dong.
I do love a ding dong.
Yeah, in the foil, the real
do
foil.
not soundbite that. Do not soundbite that.
Do soundbite
Do
that.
not soundbite.
She loves a ding dong. You heard it here.
Okay.
I mean, people
like
wonder
Twinkies more.
sometimes if you.
I'm so sure. Some people think Shelly and I are a couple. We
Yeah,
are
they
not.
might wonder if you prefer a ding dong, a Twinkie. I'm not.
Stop it.
Goodness. Okay.
I like Twinkies. Okay, Shelly,
Yes.
what did your mom make as your go-to afternoon snack when you got out of school? What was your favorite?
She would usually, actually, when we would get home almost every day after school, she would make like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I was a fan. I like
Are
me
you
some
still a
peanut
fan?
butter. Yeah. Yeah.
Kyle's one of those people that's allergic to peanuts, and so is his oldest son.
So sad.
Ugh.
Good old PB&J. Yeah, that was
yeah.
good. I love that.
Yeah.
Glass of milk was perfect.
Totally.
Mhm.
Okay. This has been another episode of Hot Flash Chronicles podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you have a moment, we would love if you would like, subscribe, share, comment, do all of those things. And the very best thing you can do is leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening.
That one.
Because it helps more people get to know that we exist.
Yeah.
So thank you so
We
much
like
for being
existing.
here. We will see you guys in a few days. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the flip side. Bye.
Ciao. That's it for today's dose of midlife mischief on Hot Flash Chronicles. Thanks for listening and letting us overshare.
If you laughed, nodded along, or shouted same at any point, hit that subscribe button and share us with your favorite humans. And remember, we're still hot, just in flashes.